My 38 female niece, teen, is very spoiled by my brother and sister-in-law. She's an only child and also the first and only grandchild to my parents. Ever since she was younger, my brother, sister-in-law, and parents gave her everything she wanted and never said no to her. You get the gist. Due to this, now a teen, she is a nightmare to deal with. Everyone just basically gives her whatever she wants because, she's the baby. My husband, 42, and I are child-free by choice. We both have good careers and do very well for ourselves. I've always had expensive taste in clothing, jewelry, bags, etc., important for later. A few weeks ago, my husband and I were over to my parents' house for a family lunch. My brother, sister-in-law, and niece were there too. The conversations were mainly catered around my niece because her birthday was approaching. My parents asked her what she wanted for her birthday this year. She told them she wanted this specific designer bag worth around $2,200 US. My parents were completely taken aback and kind of started laughing, telling my niece that's a bit excessive and there was no way they were spending that kind of money on a bag. My niece then turned to my husband and me and said, "Well, you guys can get it for me then. You're rich, but you always get me cheap gifts." My husband and I were both taken aback. The gifts we get her aren't cheap at all, and how ungrateful and rude she was acting. And also the sheer audacity of a teenager demanding I get her a $1,000 bag. My sister-in-law jumped in the conversation, saying how I have all these bags and flaunting them around my niece is only going to make her want them. So pretty much saying, I made my bed, lay in it, and I should get her the bag. I think they left the conversation thinking they guilt-tripped me into getting her the bag. Well, they were wrong. I hopped on one of those designer dupe wholesale websites and ordered the bag for like $60 US. The bag came in like 2 weeks later. I wrapped the gift and brought it to my niece's birthday party. Fast forward, she saw my husband's gift and got super excited. She opened her gift and immediately her face dropped. She turned red in the face. You could tell the bag was a dupe. She asked us, "What is this? Is this a joke?" I said, "No, this is your gift. Maybe in the future you should be grateful for the gifts we get you. It's not the price that matters, it's the thought." My niece started crying, calling us cheap and embarrassing. My sister-in-law had some not so nice words either. My brother, sister-in-law, and parents are upset because I let down my niece and think I should apologize. I think she needed to be humbled and that her parents should encourage her to apologize to my husband and me for demanding we buy her the bag in the first place. Am I the idiot? My goodness, OP, I think you're the only one in your family with any sense. Not the idiot. That was a diplomatic lesson. The kid is a spoiled brat. She needs to face reality. Your family's setting her up for failure by trying to get her whatever she wants. If she wants a $2,000 bag, then she can start working on getting one when she's older. You buying yourself luxury items doesn't mean that your niece is entitled to your money, and it doesn't mean you're flaunting it either. She doesn't get to demand one as a gift. OP, you were too generous with the fake handbag. Next time might just give her a birthday card with $20 or nothing at all in it. Especially this if she doesn't apologize. Your brother and sister-in-law handled that all wrong and are teaching their daughter that material items are more important than the thought of the gift. I disagree. Everyone's the idiot here. The proper way to humble this child was to tell her that she was spoiled and entitled and that you would not be getting her a $2,000 bag. And if a cheap gift wasn't good enough for her, you wouldn't get her a gift at all. You could have chosen that road, the road filled with truth and integrity. Instead, you played games with her, and you won. Now she thinks you're idiots and hasn't learned a darn thing. She's probably right, even if she is a spoiled brat. Your brother and sister-in-law are terrible parents for raising her to be an entitled brat. You don't have to defend yourself for buying yourself nice things. You've earned it. You know how they say 2 wrongs don't make a right? 2 idiots just equal 2 idiots. Exactly. Does that humble her? How? They spoiled her, so they're idiots for sure. But your gift helped nothing. Humbling her would be taking her to volunteer at a women's shelter or to feed the homeless. Your gift did nothing to teach her anything, especially since it was a thoughtless gift. So you can't even say that the gift is what matters. Also, you used the wrong word. You didn't want to humble her. What you wanted was to humiliate your niece. And honestly, you all sound just awful. So I will blame the grandparents for creating this circle of crap. I, 34 female, am the manager of a small retail store. Today is my day off, but I went into the store to make sure everything was set to run smoothly, as we have 2 new hires. When I arrived, my friend, employee Kate, 21 female, was in the back, showing the other workers some chocolate she got from her boyfriend. They were apparently some fancy gourmet dark chocolate truffles in a little box, and she was showing off the last one. She said she'd eaten the others since they'd come in last Friday, a late second Valentine's Day gift, apparently, and meant to eat the last one last night, but had forgotten. Here's where the issue arises. I asked Kate if I could try it. She looked surprised by the question and took a minute before she answered it. Finally, she told me I could buy some on the website and that she had the little pamphlet with the box showing all the flavors available. She asked if I'd like it, and I told her yes, but I'd like to try the chocolate to see if it was good. She said her boyfriend got them for her, and she didn't think giving her gift to someone else would be right. I laughed and told her in a lighthearted tone that if she wanted to be stingy, she could just say that. A couple of the others laughed, but I guess Kate didn't find it funny. She just stood there and didn't say anything. Unlike her, she's very talkative and bubbly. She ended up closing the box of chocolate and said something about forgetting to do something and left the room. I ended up leaving the building about 20 minutes later, and then another hour later, I got a text from my assistant manager, Marla, 47 female, saying Kate asked to leave early because she didn't feel well. I approved through my district manager for her to go since we were staffed well enough for what would probably be a slow day. I asked her to pass along to Kate that if she leaves, I'd like her to make up for those hours sometime in the next week. Otherwise, she's good to go. I tried asking Marla what was wrong, but all she knew to tell me was that Kate wasn't feeling well, as she said. She proposed it could have something to do with what I said earlier, though, as she'd allegedly been quiet since then. So now I'm just wondering, am I the idiot or an idiot at all? Edit. Also, just to clarify, I was only asking for part of the truffle, not the whole thing. I only wanted a nibble. So you came in on your day off, wanted to chew on your employee's last Valentine's Day truffle, and then give it back to her, and need to hear from strangers on the internet whether you're the idiot? Holy entitlement, Batman. You are the idiot. You asked her for her last chocolate, and she even tried to tell you where it was bought, but you still insisted on having hers. That's very tone deaf, very weird, and impolite. Maybe if she still had a lot of them, it'd be okay. But the normal thing to do is to wait for the person to offer. If they don't offer, don't ask. A nibble? What kind of truffle is this where a nibble isn't a sizable chunk of it? Are you sure you're in your 30s? I hope your company has an HR department so she can report you. You tried to use your position over her to shame her and force her into giving you something that was hers. You need to be written up for intimidation of a subordinate. I'm trying to understand how you don't see yourself coming off as an idiot after asking someone else for the last piece of their gift. If you want to try the chocolates, buy the box. And if you don't like them, give it to someone else. The lighthearted comments were also unnecessary. She said it was a gift and even suggested you get some yourself. That should have sufficed as an answer. Also, I think it's evident that she's your employee, not your friend. Wow, just wow. When I first had kids, I was one of those parents that had a no dating until age 16 rule. It was partially cultural, but I thought it would allow my kids to be more mature and go about it more safely because they'd be older. I didn't consider that my kids were going to be in school all day, 5 days a week, what technology would be, or even just that development doesn't have some set age. The rule ended up creating an environment of secrecy, and the real rule became, just don't let dad find out, which is the exact opposite of what I wanted. It created far more problems for everyone, got my oldest into preventable situations they shouldn't have been in, and required my youngest to lie to herself and to me for trying to follow it. I realized that I needed to change my opinion. More than anything, I was trying to keep my daughter safe, and having a hard and fast rule was doing the opposite. In addition, my youngest two have a wide age gap from the oldest, so when they got to the age, I decided not to have a hard minimum, but to foster open communication so that there could be reasonable supervision if things came up. My son went on his first date at 13, i.e., seeing a movie while his mom and his friend's mom tagged along. My oldest two found out and were furious. They're claiming that I got permissive and are allowing the younger kids to get away with things they never would have been allowed to. This is true, but it's not because I was lazy or gave up. It's because I realized that my approach with them was a mistake, and now I'm trying to learn from it, which made them angrier that I used them as guinea pigs and said that I'm favoring the younger kids. We've been arguing all day, and now they're dragging my siblings into this, and it's a whole thing. You've learned from your mistakes and are open to admitting you were wrong in the past. At the same time, your older kids are understandably angry that you made them adhere to rules they didn't like and forced them to deceive you. Have you tried acknowledging to your older kids that your old rules didn't work and were wrong? My other question, you imply that your oldest two were girls and your younger's a boy. Is there a chance that they perceive this as being different treatment based on gender? I agree. If they perceive your rule change as based on gender, they will understandably be extremely angry with you. You also never said that you acknowledged to them that you were overly protective and offered an apology. It appears that you have yet to communicate with them on any of these issues effectively, and as an adult, that's your responsibility to take the lead. I, 28 male, came out to my family 6 months ago. They were all accepting, which was a huge relief. I've been dating my boyfriend, Michael, 28, for about 2 years now, so he's been meeting the family. My sister Jen, 35, has a son, Brent, a preschooler. When I first came out, Jen asked me how to explain it to him. She was genuinely, to me anyway, trying to be a good ally. Brent hasn't been exposed to anyone openly gay before, at least that my sister and her husband are aware of. So I understood it'd be a learning curve. I recommended some books, offered to talk to Brent, etc. She gave me the book recommendations, and she said she'd talk to him. Michael came to a family party not long after, and he met Brent. I thought it went well. Brent didn't ask any questions outside of if Michael would play Mario Kart with him. They did, and I thought it was super adorable. Shortly after, Jen kept coming to me, saying that Brent didn't understand why his uncle was dating a man, but our brother was married to a woman. I told her to tell him everyone was different. He's really young. It's okay if he doesn't fully grasp it. It's honestly gotten a little tiring hearing about it. Brent himself never seems confused when Michael and I are around. He loves playing with both of us, but if he consistently asks Jen about it, it's not showing. The final straw for me was when it happened yet again. Jen told me, "It's so hard as a mom. I have to keep explaining this to him, and he's just so confused. I wish I had more time to ease him into this." I told her that I simply didn't have sympathy for her. Yes, I acknowledge it's hard to be a parent and hard to explain things in a child-appropriate way, but I'm the wrong person to vent to about this. What would she like me to do? She understandably wants to handle it herself, but I can't magically make my nephew understand, even if I did step in. I told her that it made me feel like she was upset with me for exposing her son to this before she was ready. She said that this was an overreaction on my end, but also refused to acknowledge the last part. I ended the conversation. Most of my family agrees with me, but some say I should just let Jen vent and need to be sympathetic. I don't understand why she keeps coming to me and not venting to them. Not the idiot. A child that age isn't that complicated, and a simple Uncle Jim and Michael live together. All families look different, and that's what makes them special, is enough for them. Your sister's making this too complicated, and it sounds like she has the problem, not Brent. I would bet money that that kid understands just fine. A simple Uncle Jim and Michael are together, just like mommy and daddy are together, is more than enough for a kid that age to comprehend. Unfortunately, this feels more like Jen is the one not understanding or able to come to terms with it, but blaming her child to save face. I don't understand people acting like talking to kids about this is difficult. The biased adults always have the difficulty, not the kids. Yep, my kid. Daddy, what does being gay mean? Me. Mostly boys fall in love with girls, and girls fall in love with boys. If a boy falls in love with another boy, or a girl falls in love with another girl, that's called being gay. My kid. Okay. And that was it. My friend was explaining to her son that boys and girls often fall in love and have babies like mommy and daddy did. She was about to say sometimes boys fall in love with boys and girls fall in love with girls and have babies in different ways. But then her son announced that he was going to have babies with his sister because he loves her. And boy, did that convo take a sudden left turn. LOL. That's adorable and super common to say something like that when really young. OP, it really doesn't seem like Brent is the one with a problem about this. He gets it just fine. And that's not the reaction she wants. So she's decided to frame that as he's so confused. I doubt he's confused. It just bothers her somehow that, in fact, he doesn't care. You've handled this just fine. I think your response is good. Don't entertain any further venting about this. I'm a proud father of 3, 24 female, 18 male, and a teen female. I have plans for everyone in the family to go out of town as a surprise, especially because things have been tough on us lately. I called my oldest daughter, Emma, and she said she couldn't make it because she had to babysit that weekend. Emma's a professional nanny, and she now works full-time for a family of 2 moms with 2 kids. I asked her if she could cancel the weekend and spend the day with us, but she said that she had promised the family she'd take care of their kids and that they were going out of town for a getaway without the kids. I'm kind of sad because they're very understanding, and Emma could cancel and they'd be okay, but she doesn't want to. She'd rather give them a vacation than spend time with us, and I told her this. She said she loved her job and that I was being an idiot for pushing this. Does it make me an idiot to want to spend time with my daughter? You are the idiot. I get the appeal of a surprise, but your daughter's an adult with a job, and you expect her to skip it at the drop of a hat? If you want her to join family trips, you need to let her know in advance so she can get the time off work in advance. It's worse than that. His statements and actions indicate that he doesn't even respect her job. Calling her job as a professional nanny babysitting is just rude. OP, what is wrong with you? Your daughter is an adult with adult work commitments and can't just wander off on an impromptu trip because you feel like it. Given his lack of respect for his daughter's job, it could be that backing out of work is less of a big deal to him because it's 2 moms. Women take care of children. That's why canceling a commitment to care for their children an entire weekend isn't a big deal. I thought he mentioned the 2 moms because he was trying to emphasize that he knew enough about the family to know it would be fine if she canceled. This, of course, would be differently misogynistic because he knows about her work and what's appropriate better than she does. The whole thing is ironic because Emma's the adult and OP's whining like a child because he isn't getting his way. If she obeys him and cancels on them, she'll only disappoint women. It's not like they're people, so it's fine. Ugh. And oh, I love the manipulative twist he puts at the end. She'd rather give them a vacation than spend time with us, and I told her this. This statement is abusive, false, and yet strangely prophetic because you're doing everything you can to ensure that your daughter does not want to spend time with you. Keep up the disrespect, and you'll never see her again.